Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Coming up in the next hour. Counting of votes for Delhi Assembly elections underway. BJP all set to retake Delhi citadel after 27 years. Aam Aadmi Party relegated to second spot. US President Donald Trump to meet Ukrainian counterpart Zelenskyy next week, while Ukraine claims North Korean troops back on front lines. Israel-Hamas set for next Gaza truce exchange. Hamas to release 3 more hostages in return for 183 Palestinians. US President Trump freezes aid to South Africa, citing law of seize land, also to plans to announce reciprocal tariffs on many countries next week. Let's talk about the Delhi Assembly elections counting of votes. Well, the counting is on for the Delhi Assembly polls, which is underway across various counting centres in the national capitals. The initial trend suggests Bharatiya Janata Party is all set to retake Delhi after a gap of 27 years. The ruling Aam Aadmi Party is falling far behind, is relegated to the second spot. If you look at the trends at the moment, Aam Aadmi Party is trailing on key seats in the national capital. That's the news just coming in. The BJP maintaining a steady and a huge lead on 42 seats of the 70 seats Delhi Assembly. Is comfortably past the halfway mark. Delhi Chief Minister Atishi from the Aam Aadmi Party is trailing. Manish Sisodia, former Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, is also trailing from Jangpura seat. Early trends give a clear majority to Bharatiya Janata Party. It's well past the halfway mark of 35. 36 is the number that you need to have to form the government. BJP leading on 42 seats at the moment. Meanwhile, incumbent Aam Aadmi Party is trailing on key seats as we speak. Aam Aadmi Party's key candidates are also, the top leaders are also trailing on their seats. We'll also look at the numbers in just a bit. Delhi Chief Minister Atishi is trailing behind in the high-profile Kalkaji seat in national capital. Former Deputy Chief Minister of Aam Aadmi Party of Delhi, Manish Sisodia, is also trailing. And here on your screens, we're looking at the key candidates in high-profile seats. Kalkaji, Ramesh Biduri from the BJP leading at the moment. Atishi, the Chief Minister of Delhi, Aam Aadmi Party senior leader, is trailing, and so is Alka Lamba of the Congress. Congress has barely just managed to make an inroad into these elections, leading on just 1 seat after scoring a 0 in the past 2 editions. Here, another big seat of Jangpura, Tarvinder Singh Marwa of the BJP leading and trailing behind our former Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia of Aam Aadmi Party and Farhad Suri of the Congress. BJP maintaining a steady lead in over 40 seats. The number are just changing by a bit. It looks like 41 seats at the moment. Aam Aadmi Party leading on 28 seats. Congress just barely making an inroad. Perhaps the most high-profile seat of New Delhi. Arvind Kejriwal, Aam Aadmi Party convener, is, after trailing for some time, he's now leading from the New Delhi seat. And trailing are the face of the BJP and the Congress. So the BJP, Parvez Sahib Singh Verma, and Sandeep Dixit. Both of these leaders who are trailing are children of former chief ministers. Now let's also compare to the means of this graphic how the numbers stand vis-a-vis the previous assembly elections of 2020. So 2025 versus 2020. Right at the top, BJP at the moment appears to be heading towards a big win, leading on 41 seats out of 70 assembly seats in Delhi. In 2020, it had just managed to get 8 seats. Aam Aadmi Party had swept the elections in 2020, also before that in 2015. But this year, 2025, it's struggling on 28 seats. These are initial trends, of course, but a significant gap between the leading party, the BJP, and Aam Aadmi Party on 28. Congress, after having scored a 0 in 2015 and 2020, here we see Indian National Congress leading on 1 seat. There's no room for independence candidate at the moment. Let's look at the manner in which key candidates are faring. Shikha Rai of the BJP leading on the Greater Kailash seat. Kapil Mishra of the BJP is also maintaining a lead in Karawal Nagar, Delhi. We are tracking the key candidates and how they're faring in these elections as we speak. These are initial trends, not final results. It will take a couple of more hours before things settle down. Saurabh Bharadwaj, a prominent face and leader of Aam Aadmi Party, is trailing on the Greater Kailash seat that he had scooped a couple of times. Arvind Kejriwal, there was a bit of a scare for him as he was trailing early in the morning for a bit, but now he is maintaining a lead on the New Delhi seat, most high-profile seat in these elections. Ravinder Singh Negi is from the BJP, is leading on the Patparganj seat. This is East Delhi. Delhi Assembly election results. The contest is on. Parvez Sahib Singh, the high-profile seat of New Delhi, where Arvind Kejriwal is leading. Parvez Sahib Singh is trailing. He represents the BJP. Amanatullah Khan from Okhla, Southeast Delhi, is also trailing. He's a prominent leader of Aam Aadmi Party. And Gopal Rai of the Aam Aadmi Party is maintaining a lead in Babarpur, Delhi. Here's a look at the key candidates and how they're faring in these elections. Durgesh Pathak of Aam Aadmi Party is trailing. Rajinder Nagar, Central Delhi, is trailing at the moment. Aam Aadmi Party is struggling at 28 seats at the moment. BJP ahead in over 40 seats. Priyanka Gautam, Kondali seat in Delhi, he's trailing at the moment. On your screens, key candidates, how Delhi has voted is in front of us. The counting of votes is still on. Manoj Kumar Tyagi of Karawal Nagar, Delhi, represents Aam Aadmi Party, is trailing at the moment. And Mohan Singh Bisht of the BJP leading from the Mustafabad seat. Again, here's a comparison between the 2020 and the results and the 2025 leads. Look at that huge swing from 8 seats. BJP maintaining a comfortable lead of 41 seats on 41 seats. Aam Aadmi Party, big setback from 62 in 2020 to just 28 seats. These are, of course, trends and leads, not the final results. A bit to cheer for the Congress, perhaps, after scoring, not opening the score in 2015 and 2020. Some headway, some significant voter percentage appears to have moved from Aam Aadmi Party to the Congress. It's leading on 1 seat at the moment. That's what the result card, the leads card looks like at the moment. It's a quick comparison. 70 seats Delhi Assembly. And that's how the numbers stack. BJP appears comfortably ahead in these fairly advanced trends. These are not the results, the trends, of course. The Aam Aadmi Party hovering around 28. 36 is the number that you need as a party to form the government. So BJP comfortably ahead on 40 and over seats. 41 and 42, it's shuffling. Let me quickly go across to my colleague Amit Mukherjee, who's joining us from the newsroom. Amit, how do we interpret these trends? A clear way ahead for the BJP, but how much into the rounds of voting have we gone into to understand if these are likely to turn into at least somewhat the final results? Amit?
Well, yes, Shubhendu, in fact, we are into almost 3 hours of counting right now, and in most of the cases, if you see the normal trend, BJP has been leading in since the morning. In fact, there was a point in time where BJP was almost ahead in 50 seats out of the total 70 seats of Delhi Assembly. Now, very interestingly, if you look at the minority seats, there are about 13 minority seats in Delhi. out of which, one would have expected Aam Aadmi Party or Congress to do very well. But significant, BJP has made a significant, progress in those seats. Out of 13, in fact, BJP was almost leading in 9 till about 15-20 minutes back. So which is again a very, very interesting, trend which has come out in these elections.
And just to understand that, Amit, is there also, would you say, a split of vote, especially since you mentioned the minority votes between, because the Congress also seems to be getting some of its supporters back this time over. AIMIM also was in the fray. So do you see that vote also getting split to advantage the BJP?
Well, Shubhendu, I wouldn't really say there has been a split in vote because, the fact that, BJP has bagged substantial number of seats out of the 13, seats which are marked as minority constituencies, which means that, had there been a split of votes, even then Congress would have bagged quite a number of seats. But I think Congress has been able to barely make, some headway in those particular areas. Even if you look at the Jhuggi Jhopri clusters or the slum areas of Delhi, which was supposed to be the very strong bastions of Aam Aadmi Party, even those seats, BJP seems to be doing well, and it is in the double-digit mark right now. And and Aam Aadmi Party is yet to reach that mark, which means that again, even the Jhuggi Jhopri cluster people or the slum dwellers, they have found there has been a loss of credibility as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned. Now, if you look at the freebies which were offered in this particular elections, now all the parties had gone out offering freebies, but this time it has been the battle of credibility. So I think people found more credibility in the offerings of BJP, whereas Aam Aadmi Party has always been bagging seats in Delhi on those freebies which they have been offering. But again, there has been a clear shift in that sort of a sentiment also, where the voters have found BJP more credible. As far as the voting trends right now are concerned, where BJP seems to be heading to form the government in Delhi right now.
Amit, also looking at Aam Aadmi Party and the numbers that it's again hovering between 27 and 28. Anti-corruption plank was really the platform on which the party really came into the public domain over a decade ago. And this time over, the setback also appears to be primarily the major corruption allegations against the top leadership, who also were in jail for a period. There's this Sheesh Mahal allegation. The money has not gone to the civic causes where it should have gone. So the very strength of Aam Aadmi Party, as it were, becoming an albatross for them.
Absolutely, but Shubhendu, the thing is that corruption definitely was one of the poll planks which was used by the opposition to attack the Aam Aadmi Party. But there were actually multiple factors which played out in this election in Delhi this time. If you look at the deliverables, what Aam Aadmi Party had promised to the people of Delhi, they did not live by those expectations, and whether it's water, whether it's electricity. Of course, they offered a lot of freebies in terms of free water and all, but the actual thing was whether that water was consumable or not. So again, there has been a loss of credibility as far as Aam Aadmi Party is concerned. This time also they offered those same freebies, but I think the freebies which were offered by BJP found more takers this time. So yes, of course, anti-corruption and the images of the Aam Aadmi Party leaders, most of against whom the liquor scam, the Delhi excise scam played a major role, definitely, as far as the image of these Aam Aadmi Party leaders are concerned. But of course, non-deliveries of commitments made by Aam Aadmi Party over the last 10-11 years, that also played in the minds of people in a major way. And there were several factors which actually, people of Delhi, they did not find very well, in fact, as far as the administration of Aam Aadmi Party was concerned.
As you speak, let me just inform our viewers that we're playing some shots, and if we can have those shots back, those were shots of celebrations outside the BJP office. And why not? The numbers, as they look at, they've again risen, BJP leading on 43 seats. This is after over 2 decades that BJP is most likely to experience return to power. All the band baja in place already. The celebrations have started early, and the Modi Sarkar t-shirt the follower seems to be wearing. Amit, again, Prime Minister Modi leading the campaign for the BJP from the front. I'll come to you in a bit. Amit, there's some updates that are coming in. BJP's Delhi candidate from Kalkaji, Ramesh Biduri, in fact, has said that Bharatiya Janata Party will form the government. He's exuded confidence and that the public has, in fact, voted against the disaster that people are facing in the Union Territory of Delhi. Let's hear what he had to say.
दिल्ली की आपदा से लोग परेशान हैं और आपदा से परेशान होने के कारण दिल्ली में जो लोगों ने नर्क झेला है 10 साल, तो मुझे लगता है कि दिल्ली के सम्मानित नागरिक पूर्ण बहुमत भारतीय जनता पार्टी को देंगे और जो देश में विकास हुआ है उस विकास को देखते हुए दिल्ली में भी विकास होना चाहिए, इस मानसिकता को लेकर लोग त्रस्त हैं। भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनेगी दिल्ली में, भारतीय जनता पार्टी जीतेगी।
And let me welcome two special guests who are joining me to take forward the conversation as far as the Delhi Assembly election results are concerned. Let me welcome Aditi Tandon, senior journalist. Also joining me is Chakshu Roy from PRS Legislative. Warm welcome to both of you. Aditi, let me come to you first. This term that Mr. Biduri spoke about from Aam Aadmi Party, Aap becomes Aapada. This term, the very, very catchy term that Prime Minister coined, seems to have caught the fancy of the Delhi Heights with the numbers that we're looking at the moment. The anti-corruption plank of Aam Aadmi Party comes back to haunt it.
Yeah, totally. This is an astounding verdict, a complete reversal of fortunes for Aam Aadmi Party, meteoric rise and meteoric fall, I must say. This is a party that became India's youngest national party, yes, in the sense that they just took less than a decade to get to the status of a national party after they performed very well in Gujarat elections and later Goa elections. But this complete rejection of Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi is actually a vote against against incumbency, against the fact that Arvind Kejriwal and his entire top leadership was in a state of constant conflict with the LG and a constant conflict with the central government. Resultantly, a lot of infrastructure that should have been developed could not be developed. Also, it is a rejection of Arvind Kejriwal across his dedicated voter bases. Dalits appear to have shifted to the BJP comprehensively. BJP candidates are doing exceptionally well in Muslim-dominated seats. They are doing very well in village-dominated seats, 29 rural segments. And the women vote, which has surpassed the male vote this time, also appears to have swung, firmly in the favor of BJP, because this kind of a verdict that we are getting today, I think the BJP is almost touching 45 seats now. It actually takes us back to 1993 when BJP was last in power, right, and they're almost touching the vote share they got in 93, which was around 43%.
That's quite historic for the BJP. Chakshu, how do you decode the numbers that we're looking at for the Aam Aadmi Party to really come down from 62 seats that it had in 2020 to now struggling on around 27, 28? What kind of a shift in terms of numbers, percentage of support are we looking at?
So Aditi and I have been, in the studio since morning, and we've seen these numbers fluctuate a little bit. But I'd rather, also talk about the fact that while we are talking about the two political parties, there's a third political party which, yes, was expected to form a, three-party contest, and that doesn't seem to have materialized in the numbers as of now. And as Aditi rightly pointed out, which then possibly is also an indicator of the fact that if one political party, a major political party, did not get the adequate support of the electorate, then who has that electorate chosen? And it seems to indicate right now that the electorate has chosen the BJP in a number of seats. I think two or three interesting observations that I'd like to continue forward from what Aditi said. One is women voters. There are about 72 lakh women voters in Delhi. Every political party tried to appeal to their votes and their votes in previous elections has proved decisive in helping a party form a government. So that's one. The second part of it is the SC/ST votes. Now in the SC/ST constituencies, the appeal was not only across these three political parties. There were candidates from the Bahujan Samaj Party. I think there were some candidates from Chandrasekhar's party. So that was also slightly widespread. Finally, in constituencies which had a higher percentage of minority voters, the story there is interesting as to where did that vote shift. Did it shift to the incumbent party? Did it shift to Congress? Did it shift to the BJP? Or was it that there was an increase in vote share and that increase went to a particular party? Having said all of that, it is going to be interesting as to what the numbers finally settle at. If these numbers settle at roughly 30 odd for or 35 odd, then it's going to be an extremely crucial kind of a a nail-biting kind of a finish.
But I'm also curious to ask you, Jakshu, it's been about over a couple of hours of counting now for a place like Delhi with its numbers. Are we well into the rounds? Do these numbers look to consolidate?
In some areas they would, because if you look at the ECI results website, there are some constituencies where counting is going pretty fast. But let's also remember that while Delhi is a small area,
yes,
the voting population is still big.
That's right.
I mean, it's a concentrated population. So in some constituencies, the lead has increased 5,000, and I think that's in a constituency in Delhi, if the lead increases by about 5,000, I think that is going to stick. But then, for example, the New Delhi constituency, where the former Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal is contesting from, his lead currently there is about 300, 350 odd votes. So I think it still needs to, and it's on the second or the third round of counting. So areas where the leads are below 500, I think there might be a possibility.
That's a very closely fought contest. The New Delhi seats, Sandeep Dixit and
but where I think the leads have crossed 4,000 or 2,000, anywhere between 2,000 to 5,000, I think those we can hope to say that those leads will firm up into results.
Right. Just a quick recap of what the numbers look like at the moment. The BJP leading on 43 seats, a comfortably margin there for the BJP. Aam Aadmi Party hovering around 27, 28, and Congress, sometimes it has, is leading on a seat, sometimes it's not. It's not at the moment. It had a lead on one seat, Aam Aadmi Party on 28, BJP on 42. These are leads, these are not final results, but we went into a couple of hours into the counting. 70-seat assembly is what we're talking about. Aditi, I want to talk about the women voters, hugely significant in every election anywhere in India, but in Delhi in particular. Also from the perspective of the offering that each of the parties would make. So whoever wins, the women of Delhi stand to gain significantly, especially the cash handouts as well, that seemed attractive, also controversial in terms of freebies. How do you look at the manner in which they may have taken their decision, because every party appeared to have made the women voters as their priority?
Yeah, Madhya Pradesh in fact was the turning point when we come to the issue of women's constituency in India. It was Shivraj Singh Chauhan at that time who experimented with the first direct benefit transfer to women, and you saw the results. All exit polls were proved wrong, and BJP returned with a massive mandate. This experiment was then repeated across states. We saw what happened in Maharashtra in favor of the BJP with the Ladki Behan Yojana. We also saw what happened in Haryana, where also the Congress was tipped to win as per the exit poll results. Now, in that context, you come back to Delhi. Election after election, we are witnessing that the women voters are surpassing the male voters. And wherever we see these trends, of late at least, you are saying that, results in Delhi are still consolidating, so let's wait and see. But of late, wherever we've seen women surpassing men voters, the BJP has stood to gain. Now, what is happening is in Delhi also, all parties offered doles to women. Arvind Kejriwal offered 2,100 rupees a month, BJP offered 2,500, so did the Congress. Who will the women voters believe more? Will they believe a BJP which has a government at the center and maybe would be in a better position to deliver on poll promises? Should there be a so-called double-engine sarkar like the Prime Minister says? So I think when every party is trying to woo a segment, then it is a issue of credibility. Who will the women believe more? And perhaps in this scenario in Delhi, women might actually want to give the BJP a chance, because Aam Aadmi Party also has a huge anti-incumbency. Let's not forget that they are technically into their they are technically seeking a fourth term.
Right.
Because
there's
even
also
in 2014.
the MCD, I want to just bring that
Yeah.
in. It's important as well. The civic issues continue to dominate Delhi, and Aam Aadmi Party being an MCD and unable to resolve issues as simple as drain cleaning or clean water. Air pollution continues to be so all of that also adds to the burden of the incumbent.
See, it's interesting to note in the results today, who are the Aam Aadmi Party leaders that are leading in their constituencies. This is a Gopal Rai Chakshu who's leading. He's a very silent worker. You know, he does work in his constituency, whereas the vocal ones,
Yes.
Manish Sisodia, Atishi, Arvind Kejriwal of course is leading, but with a very slim margin. So people who were seen as confrontationist across all segments are actually trailing or having problems. But somebody like Gopal Rai, somebody like a Durgesh Pathak, somebody like a Mukesh Ahlawat who are available in their constituencies are actually winning.
Right.
So who are the Aam Aadmi Party candidates
It's
that are
hugely
winning?
important. Chakshu, the same point if I can bring to you, Aam Aadmi Party in many ways is fashioned around the persona of Arvind Kejriwal. There's no other second leader who matches his sort of stature in the party. And him also leading by a small margin should be a matter of great concern. There are other leaders, Atishi and others who are also trailing. The big faces are trailing. How does that augur for the party, which is so centered around few leaders?
I think in any political party, the morale of the party's cadre will be hugely affected by the electoral fortunes of the leader, because that could be an indicator of, you know, what that one localized result could be an indicator of what the perception for the party as a whole is. Having said that, I think there is when Aditi was talking and I was listening, and whenever Aditi talks, I listen to her very carefully because she's extremely insightful in what she says. And one of the words she used was confrontation. And, you know, it's very often when we talk about our electoral politics and the election results, we talk about parties winning and parties losing. But from a voter's perspective, if you look at it, it does not make any difference as to which party won and which party lost, because all political parties, their political plank is to come and ensure that there is across the board development for that particular area. So whether it is the BJP wins or the AAP wins or the Congress wins, each one of them will go to the Legislative Assembly to do their level best to ensure that Delhi as the national capital benefits and its citizens benefit from better services. Having said that, I think the other part that Ati was mentioning was what will be the credibility of delivery. As to, it's easy to make pool promises. Delivering on those pool promises is then dependent on the track record, is then dependent on how the voting population perceives, because politics is as much about core numbers, which we'll see, but it's also about perception. Is the perception about a particular party in a certain way, or is the perception about... so one of the things that I was mentioning earlier on the Hindi channel was that the Legislative Assembly has not worked much. Right? In last 5 years, it's only worked for 74 days. Does that create a perception of the public representative going and strengthening our voices in the legislature, passing laws, debating, holding the government accountable? We haven't seen much of that. Now, and these 74 days has been the lowest for Delhi ever in its legislative history, from 52 to 56, and then from the 90s till now. Now, will that change when there is a shift, or when whoever comes to power? So I think so when it comes to pool promises, the benchmark will be what happens, what you do with those promises. Do you confront? Do you collaborate? How do you work to make sure that those things take place?
Right. Aditi, two leaders, Arvind Kejriwal and Atishi, the manner in which they appeared face, one former chief minister, one the present chief minister. Atishi, the last we saw the updates, was trailing the Kalkaji seat. Arvind Kejriwal just maintaining a slim lead. To what extent was it also riding on these two leaders to take forward our prospect ahead, and them struggling also talks about the larger vision of governance that Aam Aadmi Party wanted to project, wanted to celebrate, wanted support for. Seems to have taken a beating.
Yeah, so that's the larger point I'm trying to make. Of late, if you look at the Delhi's political landscape, for almost 3 years now, Arvind Kejriwal, his entire top leadership, his close aides, Atishi, Manish Sisodia, Satyen Jain, etc., they have not been coming out very well in the public perception for obvious reasons of Delhi excise scam. They've been in and out of jails. And you are right in saying that with the top leadership of Aam Aadmi Party in jail for almost more than a year, the cadre was nowhere to be seen. Obviously, there is nobody to anchor the ship goes rudderless, and that's exactly what happened. One thing that is hurting the Aam Aadmi Party today is lack of organizational consolidation, as we had seen in 2020. Right now, their cadre is not as, upbeat as it was in 2015 or in 2020, because their leaders are facing almost 200 cases if you put together all the cases that Aam Aadmi Party leaders are facing right now. And top leadership is out on bail. So how does that play out in the public perception? For me, as a political observer, it's very important to see whether corruption was an issue. Because corruption is largely not an issue in India. We've seen election after election. Hemant Soren just returned to power in Jharkhand in a similar circumstance. Why is Arvind Kejriwal struggling? Is corruption an issue? Has that charge stuck to him? Of course, there are other issues that Chakshu discussed, you've been discussing, shift of votes, swing, women. But is corruption finally homing in as a political electoral issue in India? If that is happening, that's also a turning point.
And Chakshu, would you say corruption as there are also civic issues. There are also division of areas that the centre looks after as far as Delhi is concerned, and under the governor, and parts that the Delhi chief minister looks at. How do you also see this combination of issues playing out in these trends? And I also want to talk to you about the cadre. The BJP's local Delhi cadre is also known to have struggled in the past elections. Prime Minister Modi was the face of the BJP in these elections in the past couple of terms as well, which the BJP could not win. What appears to have changed for the BJP in these elections in particular?
I think an electoral turning point sometimes can be attributed to one thing, or sometimes it's an ecosystem shift that happens. I think in the last 5 years, there are some shifts that we have seen. One obviously is the legal troubles of the incumbent political party. So does that impact the voter, where the voter says, oh, you know what, I am evaluating a political party which is whose claim was a clean electoral process, a clean governance, and I am now evaluating them on this last 5 years where they've had run-ins with the law and where its leadership has faced questions about whether the actions have been overboard or not. The verdict on those actions is still out, but politics and electoral perception is not always based on the legal outcomes. Aditi mentioned the government in Jharkhand. Similar circumstances, the political outcomes have been completely different. I think the other part that let's also look at is that there has been, if you look at the candidates across the political spectrum, they have shifted from one party to the other. But it's not as if there are a high number of absolutely fresh faces, which also means that the voter has had some time to evaluate individual personalities irrespective of their current party affiliation. So if you look at Maharashtra, in the Maharashtra election, there were candidates who had been in every political party, and the voter was now choosing based on the individual, not based on the political party. In some cases in Delhi, candidates have switched a couple of parties and or come back home or shifted the political allegiance. So while political parties are important, while cadre is important, I think the individual candidate's reputation, the individual candidate's track record of governance, of delivering on the ground, or having worked with the people, that also has a key role. So yes, high-powered political rallies, roadshows, they have a way of swaying voters a little bit much. But when a voter sits down and thinks about it, walks to the polling station, and then gets that 3 minutes in front of that confines of the ballot machine, possibly that's some of that gets compared based on the face of the candidate, and a voter might be evaluating, is this person that I can trust with my vote, and will they honor my vote and my dedication to the electoral process by making sure that I am represented well. So I think there are no clear answers in a victory, and there are no clear answers in a defeat.
And
but there are
the point that
indicators.
you're making about the motivations for the voters, I want to come back to the voting percentage also, and if that's significant in these elections. But before that, let's take a look at the trends as they're coming in. Early trends are giving a clear majority to the Bharatiya Janata Party. Early trends are giving majority to the BJP, maintaining a steady lead on 42 seats. Aam Aadmi Party on 28. Aam Aadmi Party's Arvind Kejriwal is leading from the New Delhi seat, though the margin is slim for a leader of his stature. Should be a matter of concern for Aam Aadmi Party. Delhi Chief Minister, this is big, Atishi is trailing from the high-profile seat of Kalkaji. Another senior leader has much to worry. Aam Aadmi Party's Saurabh Bharadwaj is trailing from Greater Kailash. That's the update that's just coming in. BJP leading on 42 seats. Aam Aadmi Party trailing on 28 seats. One seat lead that the Congress was maintaining earlier in the day appears to have been lost. This is a brief overview for the Delhi Assembly. Looks like the majority mark is 36. The BJP comfortably ahead. It's really the numbers are frozen there for some time now, leading on 42 seats. Aam Aadmi Party on 28. Congress 0, and no independent candidate of significance at the moment. 70 seats in the Delhi Assembly. The majority mark at 36. A quick comparison with what happened in 2020 and what's happening now. It was a different story 5 years ago. 2020, Aam Aadmi Party had swept the elections with 62 seats. And now they're struggling on 28 seats. BJP now leading on 42. Significant jump from the 8 seats it had in 2020. And we're heading for a short break. There's lots more coming up. The numbers are although frozen for a moment, but hugely significant. A short break. We'll be right back.
Big cities now remind us of traffic, poor air quality, bad sanitation, concrete and little to no greenery. And it is our responsibility to figure out ways to improve our city life.
Failing on segregating waste, which is extremely important. The moment you segregate waste, it's all in control.
They can function efficiently and you can completely take advantage of the capacity of these processing centers only when waste is segregated at
The fungus is great for building because through the mycelium, the root structure of the fungus that grows underground, and that interlinking creates a more stable material.
People around each lake should come together and take the initiative to save their lakes. The government has proved itself ready to do their part as well. If the people are determined to save nature, change will not be difficult.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Let's track some other stories now. 3 Israeli men held captive in Gaza for 16 months are said to be released by Hamas today. The 3 men said to be released on Saturday are Eli Sharabi, Levi and Ohad Ben Ami. Ohad Ben Ami and Eli Sharabi both taken hostage from Kibbutz Be'eri during the Hamas attack on October 7, 2023, while Levi was abducted on the same day from the Nova Music Festival. This will be the 5th hostage prisoner swap between Hamas and Israel as part of Gaza ceasefire deal. In exchange, Israel will release 183 Palestinian prisoners from its jails. Since the truce took effect on January 19th, 13 Israeli or dual national hostages have been freed, along with 5 Thai hostages. They've been released outside of the agreement for the first stage. The first phase, a total of 33 hostages, 8 of whom Israel says are dead, are said to be released during the first 42-day phase of the deal in exchange for approximately 1,900 Palestinians held by Israel. The United States on Friday announced the approval of sale of more than $7.4 billion in bombs, missiles and related equipment to Israel. The State Department has signed off on the sale of $6.75 billion in bombs, guidance kits and fuses, in addition to $660 million in Hellfire missiles. The Pentagon in a statement said the proposed sale would improve Israel's capability to meet current and future threats, strengthen its homeland defense and serve as a deterrent to regional threats. While the State Department has approved the arms sales, the transactions need approval from House of Representatives and Senate committees to go ahead. US President Donald Trump froze US aid to South Africa, citing a law that allegedly allows land seizure from white farmers without compensation. This is despite Johannesburg's denials. The law has sparked controversy, with South Africa's government denying Trump's claims. Land ownership remains a contentious issue in South Africa, where the white people still own most farmland decades after apartheid's end. Trump vowed to support Afrikaner refugee fleeing government-sponsored race-based discrimination. And head of US Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk, accused the South African government of openly racist ownership laws, while US Secretary of State Marco Rubio plans to skip the G20 talks in South Africa, citing the host government's anti-American agenda. The move has strained relations between the two countries, with South Africa's government labeling Donald Trump's claims as misinformation. US President Donald Trump welcomed Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba at the White House on Friday. The leaders met as the meeting came as two allies wary of China's rising work to boost business and security ties. And heaping praise on one another, the two leaders pledged to stand together against Chinese aggression and said they found a solution for a block deal for troubled US steel. Meanwhile, Trump also threatened tariffs on Japanese goods if the US trade deficit with Tokyo is not equalized. The two leaders also discussed North Korea. The US President plans to unveil a new tariff plan next week, shifting from a blanket tariff to what he calls reciprocal approach. This means that the US will charge countries the same tariffs that are imposed on American goods. Trump believes this fair approach will avoid hurting anyone. The president will meet with officials on Monday or Tuesday next week and explain the plan at a news conference. The US president said on Friday that he is likely to meet his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, next week. The announcement came during Trump's meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba at the White House on Friday. Though Zelenskyy said that Washington and Kiev were planning talks, did not confirm a meeting between the two leaders. Even Donald Trump did not make it clear whether it would be a face-to-face meeting or a video conference. Trump also said that he wanted to talk to Zelenskyy about security for Ukraine assets, such as rare earth minerals, and wants, and he says, an equal amount of something in exchange of American support.
I will probably be meeting with President Zelenskyy next week, and I will probably be talking to President Putin. I'd like to see that war end, but no, I would very much like to help out. One of the things we're looking at with President Zelenskyy is having the security of their assets. They have assets underground, rare earth and other things, but primarily rare earth.
Earlier on Friday, Russia's defense ministry said its forces had taken control of the strategic coal mining city of Doordarshan in eastern Ukraine. But Ukraine's military has refuted the claims. Doordarshan has been one of the focal points of the advance, along with other logistical hubs like Kramatorsk and Kostianivka to the northwest and Potrovsk further west. But as Ukrainian President Zelenskyy said on Friday that North Korean troops were back on the front lines in Russia's Kursk region. This is after reports that they were withdrawn last month due to heavy casualties. Zelenskyy further said Russian army had brought back the North Korean soldiers who were carrying out new assaults in the region. According to South Korean and Western intelligence, more than 10,000 soldiers were sent to Russia last year to help it fight back Ukrainian offensive. Though neither Moscow or Pyongyang ever officially confirmed North Korean deployment in the ongoing conflict. Some updates from Africa. Leaders of Economic Community of Central African States during a summit in Malabo have called for a ceasefire between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, where east of the country is in the grip of a lightning offensive by Rwandan-backed rebels. Teodoro Obiang, the president of Equatorial Guinea, stated that the summit, that an early end to the hostilities is necessary to prevent the conflict from spreading to other regions.
To ensure that this conflict does not spread to the other regions, we also call for an immediate cessation of hostiles to address the underlying causes, preventing good coexistence between these two brotherly countries.
Let's again turn to the big news of the day, the results of the Delhi Assembly elections. The counting is still on, and we're getting you the latest updates. The trends at the moment are giving a clear majority to Bharatiya Janata Party for some time now. More than a couple of hours of counting has taken place. Today, BJP appears is all set to retake the Delhi citadel after 27 long years. And the party that had swept the Delhi elections in the past editions, Aam Aadmi Party, appears to have been relegated to the second spot. Key Aam Aadmi Party candidates, including Chief Minister Atishi in the trends that last came in, are trailing in the early trends. Delhi Chief Minister Atishi is trailing from the high-profile seat of Kalkaji. BJP leading on 41 seats as we speak. Aam Aadmi Party's Amanatullah Khan, tall leader of the Aam Aadmi Party, Amanatullah Khan is trailing from Okhla seat. Aam Aadmi Party's Prasar Bharati is also trailing from Greater Kailash. So we see big names, in fact, are disappointing the party. BJP's Manish Chaudhary is leading from the Okhla seat. That's where Amanatullah Khan is trailing in the trends that we are looking at the moment. BJP's senior leader Satish Upadhyay is leading from the Malviya Nagar seat. Overall, BJP on 41, Aam Aadmi Party on 29. Arvind Kejriwal, Aam Aadmi Party convener, after a brief scare, is now leading, although it is a slim margin, is leading from the New Delhi seat. But early trends are giving a clear majority to Bharatiya Janata Party. Halfway mark 35, 36 is what you need in the assembly to form the government. BJP on 41. Here's a quick comparison between 2025 and 2020. The previous edition, Aam Aadmi Party had swept the elections with 62 seats. BJP had only managed 8. This was in 2020. But it looks entirely different in 2025. Here through the bar graph, you can see BJP leading on 41 It needs only 36, and the numbers are also changing quickly. Now on 42 seats, the BJP is leading. Aam Aadmi Party on trailing on 28 seats. Congress, that one seat lead that it had, it appears to have lost that as well. It could be, in fact, then a hat-trick for the Congress of scoring a 0 in Delhi Assembly elections. But we'll have to wait and watch if that really turns out to be the case. But for now, the big story, the BJP, it seems, is likely to storm back into power. It's a contest that we're looking at, the key candidates and how they've contested. Kailash Gehlot, former Aam Aadmi Party minister, in fact, is now leading from the BJP. Sanjeev Jha, talking about the seat of Burari, is from the AAP, is leading. And Mangesh Tyagi of the Congress is trailing at the moment. We look at the seat of Greater Kailash. Shikhar Rai of the BJP leading, and Prasar Bharati of Aam Aadmi Party is trailing. Some of the high-profile seats and how the candidates are faring there. Karawal Nagar, Kapil Misra, again former Aam Aadmi Party leader and now BJP leader for some time, is leading from the Karawal Nagar seat. And we look at Karol Bagh, Vishesh Ravi of the Aam Aadmi Party is leading. Dushyant Gautam of the BJP is trailing from the Karol Bagh seat. Let's turn to Malviya Nagar. Satish Upadhyay, senior BJP leader, is leading. Somnath Bharti, a prominent face of the Aam Aadmi Party, is trailing from the seat. Okhla, high-profile seat. Okay, it's a close contest in Okhla. Things appear to be changing again. A quick comparison between the previous elections, 2020 and 2025. The scene seems to have completely changed. If yellow is Aam Aadmi Party and saffron is BJP, look at the manner in which the map on the left has transformed to the map on the right on your screens. The BJP from 8 seats is now leading on 42. And Aam Aadmi Party really coming down in a big way. That's a bird's eye view of what the Delhi Assembly looks like. 36 is the majority mark in the 70-member Assembly. The BJP leading on 42 seats, maintaining that comfortable margin. Could this be the victory margin? We'll have to wait and watch in the next couple of hours or so. Aam Aadmi Party, still a long gap to cover on 28 seats. And the Congress, you don't see any blue in that Assembly bird's eye view. Congress on 0. It's the BJP versus Aam Aadmi Party. BJP maintaining a clear lead. And we'll be tracking all the updates from the Delhi Assembly election counting all through the day. But that's all for now in this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code that we keep flashing on the screens to download this app. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.